Maxton Hall Season 2 ended in the most dramatic way possible, and honestly, after a season full of pain and sadness, I now want to see Ruby and James finally happy. That is why today I am going to tell you what could happen in Season 3. Get ready, because after all the difficulties they have faced, we may finally see our couple leaving all their problems behind and starting a happy life together. First of all, of course, we need to talk about the most important issue, Ruby being expelled from Maxton Hall. As you know, in the Season 2 finale, we saw a photo where Ruby and Graham were quite close, and as you will remember, this photo was taken by James in Season 1, Episode 1. And because of this moment, which looks like an inappropriate relationship but is actually just a conversation, Ruby was expelled from school and Graham was arrested. So here's the main question. If the real inappropriate relationship is between Lydia and Graham, why did we see the photo of Ruby and Graham? If you are asking this, the answer unfortunately lies in Mortimer. We know that Mortimer has access to James's phone, and he probably found this photo on James's phone as well. And if you are asking what happened to the photo that Cyril took of Graham and Lydia, then Lexington saw the photo, told Mortimer first, and because Graham needed to be punished, another victim was chosen, and unfortunately that victim was Ruby. And that is how we got that disastrous finale we saw at the end of Season 2. Now let's move on to what will happen in Season 3. First of all, of course, James will realize that the photo shown is the one he took, and he will start questioning who published this photo by starting with Mortimer. At this point, Mortimer will say that he knows about Lydia and Graham's relationship and that he did this in order to protect her name. When Lydia says she is pregnant, Mortimer will most likely explode with rage and will kick Lydia out of the house. However, James, of course, will do everything he can to protect his twin, and he will threaten his father. And I expect to see a very serious fight scene here. Most likely, James will take Lydia with him, leave the house, confess that he took the photo, explain that there was nothing inappropriate, and also say that he will never speak to his father again after all the horrible things he has done. I believe that after James explains the situation to the school, Ruby will definitely return to Maxton Hall without any problems. And most likely Cyril, after seeing how upset Lydia is, will confess that he took their photo as well. To make up for the situation, he will also testify that there was absolutely nothing inappropriate between Ruby and Graham. After all these confessions, we may see Ruby and Graham continuing at Maxton Hall from where they left off. And nothing may remain in Ruby's way to go to her dream school, Oxford. If you are asking whether we are done with Mortimer, of course not. Because as you know, we learned that in Cordelia's will, all of her fortune was left to Mortimer, and the children received nothing. James and Lydia, who now stand against their father, will definitely do everything they can to make sure he receives absolutely nothing. And the people who will support them the most at this point will, of course, be their Aunt Ophelia and Percy. We know how influential Ophelia is, and she probably has very good lawyers. She also knows very well what kind of person Cordelia was. That is why she will say that her death was extremely suspicious and that her will may have been changed. And the biggest evidence at this point will most likely come from Percy. In the Season 2 finale, we saw Percy visiting Cordelia's grave and kissing a key. Honestly, I think this key will contain unbelievable surprises. Most likely, this key will open some kind of chest where Cordelia's real will is kept. And we also know that when Cordelia died, the only people around her were Mortimer and Percy. If Percy starts talking and if he says that Mortimer killed Cordelia and changed her will, honestly, I think the entire Beaufort company will go to Lydia, James, and Ophelia. And another detail is the possibility that something happened between Percy and Cordelia. Maybe Percy is actually the father of the twins. Honestly, this possibility seems much stronger to me because it seems impossible that a terrible person like Mortimer could have angelic children like James and Lydia. And now, after Mortimer probably ends up in prison for the crimes he committed, let's talk a bit about what we will see. Honestly, I think James will leave the company directly to Lydia. Lydia is much better and more willing in this line of work than he is. That is why James may entrust all of his shares to Lydia and go live his life with the Ruby. They could buy a small and sweet home and live together. While Ruby goes to Oxford, James, who is extremely talented, may continue drawing and become a successful painter. And because James will have a lot of money, they will be able to travel anywhere they want in the world. And finally, either after Ruby finishes school or while she continues, we may see Ruby and James getting married. We may also see Lydia giving birth to her twins safely and marrying Graham. So unlike season 2, I expect a wonderful final in season 3. One that will make us cry from happiness and leave us with big smiles on our faces. Alright, now it is time to talk about when we will be able to watch this third and final season. Get ready, because I have great news for you. Season 3 finished filming on December 1st, and this means that it is very likely we will watch season 3 in 2026. My guess is that fall 2026 is a suitable date because only post-production remains. However, they may also surprise us with something like summer 2026. Alright, now it is your turn. What do you expect from season 3 of Maxton Hall? Do you think Ruby and James will get the happy life they deserve? Let's meet in the comments. Meanwhile, if you want to know what could happen in season 3 of my life with the Walter boys, check out this video.